Rain pelted the tiny windows of the Vale Community Clinic as Lily Morgan pulled her scarf tighter around her neck, glancing nervously at the stack of mail on the receptionist's desk. A nurse by profession, but an avid puzzle enthusiast at heart, Lily had never been frightened by a crossword puzzle until now. She'd just collected another envelope with a neatly typed grid, each clue a strange reference to something in her life. The envelope bore no return address, and that ominous detail left her unsettled. Lily clocked out of her shift that evening, tucking the latest puzzle carefully into her bag. She needed to examine it at home, in the quiet safety of her small cottage on Lilac Lane. Despite her initial misgivings, a spark of excitement stirred beneath her apprehension. Who was sending her these cryptic crosswords? And why? At home, she flipped the cottage's living room light switch. The place was modest, with crocheted blankets and mismatched furniture that exuded warmth. She loved her quaint living space, though tonight it felt oddly claustrophobic. She set her bag down on a worn side table, removed the envelope, and opened it carefully. Unfolding the single sheet, Lily immediately recognized the puzzle's format. Some squares blacked out in artistic shapes, symmetrical in typical crossword fashion. Across the top read a mysterious instruction. Follow the pattern. Nurses might find the cure. Strange, she thought, because she was the only nurse she knew of in her circle who was so deeply invested in puzzle solving. The first clue read, "A midnight visitor leaves a code." Lily frowned. That didn't sound like a standard crossword clue at all. Others on the list seemed similarly vague, yet she felt compelled to solve them, as if each answer might hold significance beyond a typical puzzle satisfaction. The next day, Lily walked into the clinic early. She noticed the head nurse, Diane Reams, sorting through patient charts. "Morning," Lily said, trying to sound light-hearted, even though she had the puzzle on her mind. "Morning, Lily," Diane replied, glancing up. "You look a bit tired. Everything okay?" "Nights can be long," Lily replied vaguely. She almost asked Diane if she knew anything about the mysterious envelopes, but decided against it. There was no reason to suspect her co-worker, at least not yet. The morning shift commenced without trouble, but Lily's mind teemed with possibilities. She'd stayed up late working on the crossword. The answers scribbled in pencil across the grid looked like random words. Night, patch, pill, track, Siri. At first glance, there was no obvious pattern, but Lily suspected the puzzle's instructions to follow the pattern meant the puzzle's theme might extend beyond typical word definitions. During her lunch break, Lily ate in the staff lounge with Dr. Mabel Gaines, the newest physician in Violet Vale. Dr. Gaines was methodical and contained an air of gentle curiosity. "You've got that look again," Dr. Gaines said, sipping her coffee. "The same look you had last Friday when you stumbled on that cipher in the newspaper." Lily couldn't help but smile. "I do, don't I? Well, I've got a situation. Someone's been sending me cryptic crossword puzzles anonymously. The answers all seem strangely relevant to my day-to-day life, but I can't make sense of them." Dr. Gaines raised her eyebrows. "That's odd. Have you shown them to anyone else?" "Not yet," Lily admitted. "They make me uneasy because the sender obviously knows something about me. They're referencing nurses, my workplace, even my nightly routine. But I can't see the bigger picture." Dr. Gaines patted Lily on the shoulder. "If you need a fresh pair of eyes, I'm here." That evening, Lily took the puzzle to the small reading nook in her cottage and spread it out on the coffee table. She tried to examine the letters that fell in certain diagonal lines, in circles, or from the first letter of each answer. Nothing leapt out at her. Finally, she pulled out an older puzzle from 2 weeks ago to see if the two might be connected. She discovered a peculiar pattern. The last puzzle's answers included dose, nurse, night, heal, warning, and when placed side by side with the answers of the new puzzle, something odd emerged. If Lily took the first letter of each answer from both puzzles, she got NPNTSW for the first puzzle, and NPPTS for the second. That was still incomplete. Frustrated, Lily decided to make a quick dinner and try again later. Although the wind howled outside and rain splattered her windows, she remained determined, letting the methodical process of puzzle-solving calm her anxious mind. The next morning arrived with more drizzle. Lily found another envelope tucked inside her mailbox. This time the puzzle's grid was smaller. A tightness in her stomach told her there was urgency to the puzzle, another piece to an unsolved riddle. Inside the clinic, she sought out Dr. Gaines and quietly showed her the new crossword. Dr. Gaines scanned it with the critical eye of a doctor diagnosing an illness. "This is definitely suspicious," she murmured. "No normal crossword would have these cryptic instructions in place of standard clues." The new puzzle had a note scrawled in neat black lettering along the margin. "The truth is hidden in plain sight. Watch the watchers." Lily tapped it with her pencil. Who are the watchers? Maybe they're referencing doctors, administrators, security guards? She realized there was indeed a small team that monitored the clinic's security cameras. Or, more distantly, watchers might refer to some hidden group in the community. Hours later, she was able to fill in the new puzzle's answers in between patient visits. The words included eyes, chimera, clue, money, and mobile. Something about the words chimera and money gave Lily a chill. She wondered if the person behind the puzzles was hinting at a secret financial scheme or blackmail. That afternoon, Lily found a moment to confide in Diane, the head nurse. Diane listened with a furrowed brow. "Anonymous puzzles? That's quite bizarre. Do you think someone is threatening you?" "I'm not sure," Lily replied, "but it sure feels like a cryptic warning. I can't figure out who would go through so much effort just to rattle my nerves." Diane patted Lily's arm. "Keep me posted. If you think it's serious, we should tell administration." Before she could respond, the phone rang at the nurse's desk, and Diane picked up. Lily returned to restocking supplies, her mind uneasy. She wanted to trust Diane, but the reference to watchers made her hesitant. Could Diane be part of it, or was she genuinely worried for Lily's well-being? That night, Lily seated herself at a dining table, her mind filled with the crosswords. She had pinned them to a corkboard in chronological order. The first puzzle's cryptic line, "A midnight visitor leaves a code." The second puzzle's, "Follow the pattern. Nurses might find the cure." The third puzzle's, "The truth is hidden in plain sight. Watch the watchers." She studied each one, comparing the answers now that she had them all solved. Puzzle 1. Night. Patch, pill, track. Serum. Puzzle 2. Dosage, nurse, night, heal, warning. Puzzle 3. Eyes. Camera, clue, money, mobile. Her eyes drifted to the letters forming from the first letter of each answer, still nothing coherent, but then she tried a different tactic, taking the last letters of each word in every puzzle. Writing them out, she got T, H, L, K, M for puzzle 1, E, E, T, L, G for puzzle 2, S, A, E, Y, E for puzzle 3. These seemed random. Then Lily wondered if each puzzle might include a meta-clue. The words night, nurse, camera, money. Each had a certain significance in a medical environment. Suddenly a new approach came to her. Maybe the position of each word within the puzzle list mattered. She studied them carefully, noticing that night appeared twice, once as the third answer in puzzle 1 and once as the third answer in puzzle 2. The repetition of certain patterns caught her attention. She pulled a fresh sheet of paper and tried to see if the repeated words aligned with repeated puzzle positions. Her phone buzzed. She jumped, then checked and saw a text from Dr. Gaines. "Wanted to see if you'd made any progress with the puzzle. Also, found something interesting in the staff lounge. Care to chat tomorrow?" Lily answered, "Sure, let's meet before our shifts." That night, Lily had trouble sleeping. She kept imagining footsteps outside her window, or perhaps the rustling of an envelope being slipped into her mailbox. It was nearly 2 a.m. before she finally drifted off, and when she awoke, an uneasy feeling washed through her like she was on the cusp of uncovering something big. At the clinic, Dr. Gaines pulled Lily aside before they changed into scrubs. She handed Lily a small photograph. "I found this near the lounge vending machine yesterday. Look familiar?" Lily examined the photo, a snapshot of the security room corridor. In it, she recognized one of the clinic's administrative staff members, Morgan Fitch. He was leaning over a desk, fiddling with something that looked like a camera or a recording device. Fitch was known for being meticulous with insurance claims, but Lily didn't know much else about him. "I asked around, and it doesn't sound like Fitch has any real reason to be tampering with security equipment," Dr. Gaines said, lowering her voice. "The office manager is typically the one who oversees administrative concerns, not him." Why was he messing with cameras? Maybe that's the meaning of cameras and watches, Lily guessed. Could Fitch be the sender? Or maybe the puzzle is pointing to something he's done. Possibly. Dr. Gaines slid the photo back into her coat pocket. "I'm still not certain how these puzzling references fit together, but I'd wager the camera clue is leading us to look at the security footage or examine who's controlling it." When Lily finished her shift that evening, she found yet another envelope in her mailbox. She could hardly wait to open it, but she made herself a cup of tea first, trying to steady her nerves. Ornate black squares greeted her from the puzzle, shaped like an archway. The single instruction read, "When the watches fail, the caretaker steps in." Goosebumps raised her arms. Who was the caretaker? Could it refer to the nurse, the caretaker of patients, or someone else in a caretaker role, like the building caretaker? She recognized an older man named Harry, who sometimes fixed things around the hospital, but he was always kind to her. She couldn't picture him leaving cryptic crosswords. Lily resolved to crack the puzzle methodically. The new grid had 8 answers. Each clue was bizarrely blunt, referencing hush money, betrayal, stolen items, shady deals, mysterious cameras, and finally, ransom. The final clue, ransom's payment for a quiet exit. As she filled in more squares, her heart pounded. Ransom indicated a dire situation. Maybe someone was blackmailing Fitch or someone in the clinic's administration. The morning that followed, Lily decided she had no choice but to investigate the security room itself. She recruited Dr. Gaines. Together, they snuck into the corridor leading to the security room after finishing their standard duties. Usually that area was restricted to authorized staff only, but Lily used the nurse's access pass, hoping no one would question their presence. Inside, rows of monitor screens revealed real-time footage of the corridors, examination rooms, and outside parking lot. No one else was there, which was suspicious. Usually at least one security staff member watched the screens. Lily carefully slid around the desk, noticing a small external drive plugged into the main computer. She pointed to it. "Doesn't look like standard hospital equipment," she whispered. Dr. Gaines unplugged it, her face set with determination. "We need to find out what's on this drive. Let's hurry out of here before someone sees us." They slipped back into the hallway and found an isolated corner near the staff cafeteria. With Dr. Gaines keeping watch, Lily used a hospital laptop to examine the external drive's contents. "There are a bunch of video clips labeled with dates and times," she said, scrolling. "Wait! Look at this!" She opened one. The footage showed an empty corridor until Morgan Fitch walked in. He seemed to be rummaging around in a locked room. Then the video jumped as if edited. Lily's heart pounded. This must be footage someone retrieved from the security feed. Footage that's either incriminating or suspicious. No wonder it was stored on an external drive. "What do you think Fitch is doing?" Dr. Gaines asked quietly. In the video, Fitch opened a file cabinet, shuffled through documents, and placed several in a manila folder. He wore an expression of worry, constantly glancing over his shoulder. Lily clicked on another file. It was more footage of Fitch, this time meeting with a man Lily didn't recognize. The two spoke in hushed tones, exchanging more folders. The file's label read, Payoff. Lily's eyes flicked to Dr. Gaines. This is definitely bigger than weird crosswords. Dr. Gaines nodded, stepping back to watch the hallway. I think the crosswords are referencing exactly this. Hidden cameras, hush money, shady deals. Fitch is up to something. Maybe he's funneling hospital funds or extorting local businesses. But who's been feeding you crossword clues pointing to him? Folding up the drive, Lily put it in her jacket pocket. I don't know. But the puzzle instructions said watch the watchers, meaning the security footage. Someone must want me to discover Fitch's activities. Maybe they're trying to remain anonymous, but needed someone with puzzle skills. I guess that's me. That evening, Lily paced her cottage. She pinned the newest puzzle to the corkboard. She took the solution words from that puzzle: ransom, betrayal, hush, extremio, and a few more, and realized these words basically spelled out Fitch's crime. She sank onto her sofa, relieved to see that her puzzle hunch was correct, but still unnerved by the situation's gravity. The next day, Lily and Dr. Gaines made the decision to speak with the hospital's senior administrator, Miss Helene Potter. They showed her the footage of Fitch. Potter's mouth hung agape. I'd suspected some irregularities in the budget, but I never imagined this. We must confront him. However, Lily had a lingering question. Who's sending me these puzzle warnings? You, Miss Potter. Potter shook her head vigorously. I had no idea about any crosswords. Plus, you know me, my idea of a puzzle is reading the comics. She pressed her lips together. But whoever it is, they've done us a service by alerting you to Fitch's wrongdoing. They summoned Fitch to Miss Potter's office. He appeared anxious when he noticed Lily and Dr. Gaines waiting there. The colour drained from his cheeks as Miss Potter demanded an explanation. Fitch's voice trembled. I needed the money. My father's business was in trouble. Someone offered to pay me if I gave them certain hospital documents. Insurance info, coverage details, that sort of thing. I was told no one would be the wiser. I never meant for it to go so far. But then the blackmail started. So, you're both a victim and a perpetrator, Miss Potter replied icily. This must go to the police. We can't simply let it slide. You compromise patient confidentiality. Fitch bowed his head. I understand. I'll tell them everything. Moments later, Detective Noah Sheridan from the Violet Vale Police arrived, escorted by hospital security. Miss Potter gave him a succinct rundown of what was discovered. Fitch sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands, occasionally glancing at Lily with a haunted expression. Before Lily could leave, Fitch asked in a low voice, You're the one who found the drives, right? Why did you suspect me? I've been receiving cryptic crossword puzzles, Lily replied, her voice steady despite her nerves. They pointed toward hidden cameras, hush money, and suspicious watchers. Someone obviously wanted your scheme exposed. He exhaled, looking both ashamed and relieved. Then I guess I have them, and you to thank. This needed to come to light. Mrs. Potter gently guided Fitch to Detective Sheridan. Meanwhile, Lily stood off to the side, watching it all unfold. Her mind lingered on the unknown puzzle sender. If it wasn't Miss Potter, Fitch, or Dr. Gaines, who else? Later that evening, Lily returned home. She jolted when she spotted a second figure standing by her mailbox in the twilight's gloom. She froze, but then recognized the silhouette of Diane Reams, the head nurse. Diane? Lily called softly. You startled me. Diane turned, an envelope in her hand. I'm sorry, Lily. I realized I couldn't hide it any longer. You see, I've been the one sending you those crosswords. Shock rippled through Lily. You? But why? Diane approached with a tentative expression. I'd noticed Fitch's suspicious behavior, but I couldn't find a safe way to bring it to light. When I tried to raise concerns with administrators before, no one took me seriously, and I didn't know how high up the scheme went. I worried it might involve others in power, so I resorted to anonymity. Then I recognized how skilled you are at solving puzzles, so I created clues that would direct you to Fitch's wrongdoing. Lily stared at the envelope. You were worried about implicating innocent people or losing your job, so you used crosswords to point me in the right direction? Diane nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. I'm truly sorry for worrying you. I hoped you'd figure it out before anyone got hurt. I had no idea how deep Fitch's involvement went, or who else might be pulling the strings. Lily's heart softened. Diane had always been kind and dedicated. Though the method was unorthodox, Lily understood the fear that would drive her co-worker to remain hidden. Gently, she said, "You did the right thing. Fitch confessed today, and Miss Potter called the police. It's over." A look of relief broke across Diane's face. She let out a shuddering breath. Thank goodness. They walked together, stepping into Lily's humble cottage to escape the chilly evening air. Lily brewed a pot of chamomile tea, offering Diane a seat by the fireplace. Diane placed the final puzzle envelope on the table. "This is one more puzzle," she explained softly. "Though you don't really need it now, it's more of a thank you from me." Lily carefully opened it. Inside, she found a simple crossword grid. The clues were whimsical and personal. Cozy throw, Violet Vale's best nurse. A friend behind the scenes, referencing small joys they'd shared. One clue read, "The best detective is a nurse with a puzzle." The answers spelled out encouraging words. Hope, truth, heal, care, trust. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. "You recognized my passion for problem-solving and used it to safeguard the clinic. Thank you for trusting me." Diane sipped her tea, her hands trembling a bit. "I should have come to you directly, but I was anxious that if I told you outright, it might put us both in danger. Fitch manipulated things, and I feared we'd be next on his or his associates' list." "It's okay." Lily offered a small smile. "What's important is that we stopped it, and no patients were harmed by his leaking personal info further. The authorities will handle it now." Relief and calm settled over them. The quiet whir of Lily's heater was the only sound for a while. Eventually, Diane apologized again, then excused herself. "You should get some rest. I know you've been losing sleep over these puzzles." Standing at her doorstep, Lily watched Diane disappear down the lane. The pale yellow porch light spilled onto the path. A gentle hush had fallen over Violet Vale, as though the town itself had been freed from the tension. In the days that followed, the hospital buzzed with the news of Morgan Fitch's arrest. He cooperated with the authorities, confessing to involvement in a blackmail ring that tried to extort money from several local healthcare facilities. Luck or fate had brought Lily's puzzle-solving skill into play, and thanks to Diane's cryptic approach, the scheme was uncovered. Diane privately owned up to Mrs. Potter about her clandestine crossword campaign. Though Miss Potter initially bristled at the unorthodox method, she admitted that the hospital might never have found Fitch's wrongdoing without such cryptic messages. In the end, Diane received a stern warning about acting outside formal channels, but given she had exposed corruption, Miss Potter could hardly hold a grudge. On a bright morning about a week later, Lily found a small houseplant with purple flowers sitting on her porch. A handwritten note accompanied it. "Thank you for nurturing both patience and truths." There was no signature, but Lily recognized Diane's careful, looping handwriting. She smiled, placing the plant on her windowsill. It served as a reminder of how things that appear innocuous like a crossword puzzle can hold hidden meanings that ultimately bring about justice. That evening, Lily opened the final puzzle again. She filled in the last clue. "Thank you" in 5 letters, writing grace into the squares. She sat back with a satisfied sigh. She would never look at a crossword puzzle the same way again. Her love for solving them had helped her unravel a conspiracy right under the clinic's nose. Gazing out at the sunset over Violet Vale, Lily reflected on the cozy hush that had returned to the little town, the swirling mists hovering over the hills, the lilacs rustling in the breeze, the promise of fresh beginnings after the storm. She breathed deeply, feeling the tension ease out of her shoulders. Sometimes it took a cryptic puzzle or two to prove that in a world filled with hidden clues, even the quietest caretaker could crack the hardest cipher. And so ended her strange foray into clandestine crosswords. A real-life puzzle with intense stakes. The clinic returned to its normal rhythm of checkups and comforting routines. Lily continued her daily rounds, greeting patients with her usual kindly smile, the puzzle-sleuthing affair now just a memory. But each time she passed the bulletin board in the staff lounge, she felt a thrill of gratitude that she lived in a place where, even if truths needed to be pried from riddles, they wouldn't stay hidden forever. In a small drawer in her cottage, Lily tucked the stack of crosswords away. The final puzzle's words, hope, truth, heal, care, trust, reminded her that, while conspiracies might lurk in the unlikeliest corners, so did the strength of those determined to root them out. She promised herself she'd continue sniffing out clues for any secrets that might threaten the harmony of her beloved Violet Vale, not because she wished for more mysteries, but because she believed wholeheartedly in the power of an inquisitive mind and a kind heart to bring light wherever shadows might fall.